Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Before we begin, or I guess as we begin, does anyone have a disclosure of pecuniary interest to disclose? Seeing none, let's move on to the adoption of the previous minutes. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that? Mary and Ian, moved by Mary, seconded by Ian, that the minutes dated October 28th, 2025 of the Short-Term Rental Committee be adopted as circulated. Any questions on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Carries. Okay, business of the committee, item 4.1. Follow-up letter by John Hood Tidman. There is correspondence on here. Does anyone want to speak to this? Our favorite guy, Mike, is not here. I'm supposed to have the mic on, right? Sorry.
Yes, you are supposed to have your microphone.
Okay, well, I've read it. I'll comment on it. Or did you have your hand up or you're scratching your head? No, okay. You're funny. So helpfully, a lot of it is highlighted with a lot of questions, some of which have been asked and answered in previous meetings. The one thing that caught my eye, which I'd like to ask staff about, is it says on the first page, I'm not sure how many pages this is, I strongly recommend you request that the ACW or building and planning department review this proposed bylaw. I'm not sure if that's standard practice. Do you want to speak to that? When we do bylaws, do we ever have this happen? Or like, is this
I mean, if the committee wanted the building department and the planning department to have a review of it, that's their prerogative to do that. I would say it would be standard that if there is a development of a bylaw, like administratively, we would have department heads review it. But again, that's up to the committee whether they'd like us to do that or not.
Well, I guess that's my question, because I don't know that we've specifically done that in my time on council, said we need you to review this because there is the expectation that it is being reviewed and they will tell us if it's incorrect. Am I correct in that? CAO, please.
I would say if this committee moves forward with the bylaw and it comes forward to the next meeting, we'll have conversation with the department heads and ask them to read it before the next agenda. And if they have comments, they can share before it goes to council.
Okay, so when we talk about the next meeting, this is the proposed last meeting of this committee, right? So then that would be before
Council meeting.
Yes, okay. All right. So before it comes to the council meeting, as standard procedure, it would be reviewed by staff.
We can make sure that happens.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll if the committee agrees to proceed with the next council meeting for consider, we can provide copies to the planning and building and say if there's any comments, share them with us before we take it to council on the 2nd.
Okay, so for myself, that would conclude what I have would like to see happen from this letter. Does anyone else have another comment? It's a little discouraging to read, but shall we say this is noted and filed with the action taken by staff as directed? Does everyone agree with that? Show of hands, please. Okay, moving on to item 4.2. We all saw the summary. It was circulated to us very shortly after he wrote it so that there would be time for our comments before here. I personally thought it was spectacular. I thought Mike did a really nice job of summarizing what we talked about, just to show that we had considered it before we moved on, because otherwise you get a lot of questions of, well, did you think of that? Did you think of that? Why didn't you mention it? Right. So, and the ones that we weren't sure of that we've deferred. Does anyone have any comments on Mike's letter, and would you like it included in to go to council? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And yes, I think along with all of us really appreciate the time and the viewpoint and the way that Mike captured the comments and the sentiments and the discussions of the committee. And I think it would be very appropriate for this to be included in the council agenda, that all members of council realize the amount of effort that has been put into this on behalf of the committee.
Okay, thank you. Mary, did you have a comment? No. You were just nodding? Okay. Ian, you were doing this too. Did you have a comment?
No, I think what Mike did was a good report, and it gives a good outlook on what we did do, and No, I agree totally. It should be given to council as well.
Okay, so we have direction, and no one objects to that. Everyone's nodding. So for formality, show of hands that we agree with Mike's letter, and we're gonna include it in the council package. Okay, great. Moving on to 4.3, short-term rental committee recommendation to council. We have provided the committee with the report by Florence. Did you want to speak to that, Florence, before we move on here?
I have nothing to add to that.
Nothing to add. Okay. It really is, what do you call that? Fulsome and includes, I think, basically everything what we did and then some. I think the committee looks just spectacular by the way the clerk is presenting us, so. Any other comments?
I'll just say for the record that I think this has been probably one of the most effective groups I've partaken in this position. Anyway, I've been proud to be part of it, just to say that out loud.
Thank you. And I will say it's the best I've ever been on. I should add, it's the only I've ever been on. But I keep saying what a great job everybody's doing and we should do everything like this. So, yeah, I concur with those comments. Yep, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. And I think that we all need to recognize that this was a very difficult and contentious situation on behalf of a lot of residents. And our council had the courage to appoint this committee to look at it with an open mind. And there was a lot of research that had been done and a lot of thoughtful discussion that would encompass the benefit of all residents of our municipalities. I think this is an example that we do not shy away from the hard things, however, go about it in a diligent, responsible way. And involved a lot of individuals that were affected in the discussions and at the open house, and the process is certainly to be commended. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add that I think staff did a spectacular amount of legwork for us and really well presented, Florence. You did a great job.
I didn't do it by myself. Just
Well, I'm looking at you and you're the other one whose name, Kelly, good job. What's your name again? Mark. Yes. And whoever is behind you, but really, really well researched. So I guess mover and seconder, and then we can discuss more if we want to send this along. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Ian moves, Mary seconds. That the short-term rental committee recommend that council proceed with the adoption of the draft short-term rental bylaw as prepared and comprehensively reviewed by the committee. Do we have any comments or questions on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay. New business to be brought forward to a future meeting, noting that future meeting would be a year from now, right? Or would that be a totally different thing? Or is
that would
not-
be, I think council would have to
We
make
have
that
to-
determination.
Okay.
So the mandate of this committee is finished.
Okay, so there is no opportunity for new business under this jurisdiction. Great. Let's cross that up. This is the final scheduled meeting of the short-term rental committee. Staff comments. Okay. That the committee consider the following motion. Before I read it, can I have a mover and a second?
Probably should read it first.
Oh, really? Okay.
To tell them what it is.
Okay. That the chair and the secretary be authorized to approve the minutes of this last meeting on behalf of the short-term rental committee. Is everyone okay with that? Moved by Ian, seconded by Mary. All in favor of that motion? Okay, so before we make the motion for adjournment, the CAO has something to say.
Well, I just want to make sure that everyone realizes what's in the agenda package, because I know sorry, I didn't have a microphone.
I didn't even notice. Carry on.
I just want to make sure the committee knows that staff went ahead and put a lot of the things that were requested from the last meeting, and I'm talking about the attachments, like they have the short term the bylaw information pages, the being a good neighbor, and the short term rental application, and the renter's code of conduct, and then the draft application, and then of course the bylaw. So I just want to make sure that the committee members have seen that as well, because it was brought up at the last meeting that some members couldn't remember seeing that. So that's why we brought it all back. So hopefully if anybody has any questions about that, they've looked at it, and if they're okay with it, we move on. And if not, this would be the time.
Mary?
I really appreciate, as a short-term renter, I really appreciate these. And I just wonder, when this is rolling out, if there could be a package of these for each applicant, colored and, so that you can put it on the fridge or you can put it somewhere. And that there's a step-by-step process for applicants. I think that would be really helpful. And I think when I saw the originals, I thought I could live with those in my cottage
Yeah,
and they
they're
would be
nice.
helpful. So thank you.
Thank you. I concur. They're beautiful and I'd love to post them, even in my own home. No. Anita.
I apologize for being late. I do appreciate, I was gonna say waiting for me, but you didn't.
No, we had
Anyway,
fun.
but that's good. I'm glad you didn't. Maybe the question's already been asked and answered, but just for my benefit. So what's the next step after this? It will come to council and be reviewed by council and hopefully approved. And then what are the next steps?
Well, if council approves it, then as staff, we will take that bylaw and we will, look at implementing it. We'll figure out a start date and kind of what steps we need to take internally in order to make it happen. So, yeah.
Further, will that be on the next council
It
meeting?
is scheduled to be on the December 2nd meeting, the consideration of the bylaw. So council will get the full bylaw with the recommendation from the committee for adoption. So it won't be, that we bring it back to a future meeting. It'll be the whole bylaw as it is will sit on the December 2nd meeting
With an intention to have a vote and
with the intention of it being considered. Yes.
Evan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If council wants changes to this, does that come back to this committee or does council make those changes?
Yep, for it.
That's up to council. If they say there's a certain piece of it that's not, and we don't want to talk about it, but we'd like the committee to do it, they can ask you to do it. Or they can do it themselves. That's up to them. Right now, once you make the recommendation and the bylaws in front of them, it's their bylaw. Okay.
So yeah, Mary.
So in terms of implementing this, the council will decide that and the time is going to be decided by council, right? Because I think if, people are advertising and they're, renting for the summer. And so if we're going to do it this year, probably it should be acted on soon,
Yeah.
for sure.
We'll consider that. So we'll probably have a bit of a cover report that goes with it and we'll consider those things as it goes to council.
Yep, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Madam Chair. And I also want to compliment our staff on the great job that they've done on this. When I see the graphics, who couldn't like that? And thank you very much to our talented staff for, we are the what, you're the how, and you've accomplished that. And thank you very much for the diligence and the great work that you've done to make us all look good in this committee. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'll finish up by saying I echo that. And I actually think you guys made me look really good. All I had to do was learn to not raise my hand and call on myself. And everybody else did all the work. And well, I might have helped a little bit, but really, really thoughtful and really great staff. And I'm really pleased with what we're trying to do. Whether we're doing it right, we can say we tried our hardest and we're going to review it. And if we didn't get it right, we'll try again. And that's all you can ever do. It's the first step is always a difficult one. And this has just been an excellent, excellent committee to work with, even though we have some very different views on it. We managed to, I'm not sure if we're all singing Kumbaya, but boy, we want to sit around that campfire and sing Kumbaya, don't we? Yes, we do, Mary. You know we do. All right. So on behalf of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh, thank you to all the members of this committee who helped. And maybe see you again next year, but we'll continue the staff and the counselors who are on this committee will continue the efforts going forward and make explanations what all our decisions were, and hopefully it is accepted by council. So for the adjournment? Okay, so to adjourn this meeting, Ian and you know it, Mary, they did all the work today. Moved by Ian, seconded by Mary, that the short-term rental committee does now adjourn. All in favor of that motion? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you all very much.